Hello. Today we are continuing on from our previous lesson, and we are looking at fractions as division again. And today we won't be doing any models, drawing any models for the most part. We're just going to be doing, the algorithm of it all. So anyway, what I'm working in today, I'm in the Learn book, and we're on page 137. So if you want to pause my video and go find your Learn book and open up to this page, I've torn the page out, but I don't want you to tear it out. You leave it in your book so that you won't lose anything, and you can work with me. Now, I won't do everything on this page. I'll show you some of the things that I'm going to skip. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to fill in this chart today. And you'll notice we've got 5 divided by 4, and they've already completed row A for us. They're taking the division expression, they're turning it into a unit form, they're making it an improper fraction, and they're then making it to a mixed number. And then, of course, they're showing how they came up with a mixed number because they're dividing it. And right here, you'll notice that they have checked the work. Remember how we can check our division problem to see if our answer is correct? So what we'll do today is we'll fill in this chart, and then we're going to look at the other side of this page. Now, what I'm going to do first, we are going to just X out this column, because this is really not a column you'll ever use. So I'm going to exit out for the sake of time. Okay, let's go ahead and look. On A, we've got 5 divided by 4. And remember, we learned yesterday, or in our other lesson, that you could write division as a fraction, and fractions can be written as division. And you'll notice what they did with that. They came over and wrote 5 divided by 4 as an improper fraction. This still means 5 divided by 4. The first number becomes your top number, which we call the numerator. The second number becomes your denominator on the bottom. And then they turned that into a mixed number. And the way they did that, they divided, remember, and rocked around the clock like we do. They divided, and they got 1 1/4. See, right here. And they actually put the whole answer up there, but I just wanted to show you what they did, why that looks so funny up there, because we don't normally write ours up there like that. And we'll continue to do ours like we do. All right, let's go to B. We've got 3 divided by 2. They want us to write this as an improper fraction. So all that means is I take my 3 up top and my 2 on bottom, numerator, denominator. 3 divided by 2. And they've already got this column filled in. They're saying that equals 1 1/2. Now, how did they get that? They divided. They came right over here. The top number goes inside. That's your dividend in the den. The denominator becomes your divisor at the door. And we're going to say 2 will go into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 1. And then we say stop and rock around the clock. 1 1/2. That's my answer. That's what they got. Now, you'll notice here what they did. They checked their work. Now, if you'll look at how they're checking it, we're probably, I'm just going to skip that part for today. Which I tell you what, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do it. In case it comes up later, we won't be caught off guard. It's real easy. Now, we know when we check our work, in division, you multiply this times this. Remember that? But see, that number up there, we don't see the full answer. The full answer is 1 1/2. So let me put that right there. So we're going to say 1 1/2 times 2. So let me come right here. I'm going to check it. And I'll say, since they did 4 times 1 1/4, I'll say 2 times 1.5 equals. Now, we haven't learned yet to multiply mixed numbers. So we're going to do this a different way. 2 times 1.5, that just means 1.5 plus 1 1/2, right? And when we add this together, I add my whole numbers. They'll be easy to add because your denominators are going to be the same. 1 plus 1 is 2. Keep my 2 on the bottom. 1 plus 1 is 2 here. So this is 2 and 2 halves. So remember, this equals 1 whole. So that's like saying 2 plus 1, and we're going to get 3. And that does match right there. See that? So that tells me that my division was correct. And you'll notice up here, they got 1 1/4. So they're going to do 1 1/4 times 4. So if you'll notice, I'll cover this right here. We haven't learned yet how to multiply that. So they just did 1 1/4 4 times and added it together. And they got 4 plus 4/4, which was 4 plus 1, equaled 5. And see, that matched what's in the dividend. So just work with me. You'll catch on. Now, look, C, we don't have anything here. What have they got right here? We've got 6 divided by 4. If this is 6 divided by 4, this means the 6 goes first in the division sentence, divided by 4. Remember, the number on the inside becomes your numerator. It's the first number. The number on the inside is always your first number in the division problem. I always tell y'all, think about when you're waiting in line at the bathroom, this person is there first, so they get to go in the stall first. So this is 6 divided by 4. So this is 6 divided by 4. And now they're saying, what's the mixed number? To determine this, how do we find the mixed number? What have we always done to the improper fraction? That's right, we divided it. So let's do that now. 4 will go into 6. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract 2, stop and rock. 1 2/4. So I'll go up here and add that 2/4 right here. That'll make this easier for y'all to see. So my answer is 1 2/4, because I rocked around the clock and got 1 2/4, just like that, see? And I just put it up there with the 1, because remember, to check it, you always multiply outside times outside. And I can come over here, now that I've done that, I know the mixed number, and I can do 1 2/4. And I know that would be, if I put that in simplest form, that's going to be 1.5, isn't it? But we'll leave it alone for today's lesson. We won't worry about simplest form today. Let's just leave it like it is to keep our math going over here. All right, and over here I'm going to check it. Remember, we're going to do 1 2/4 times 4. Now, we don't know yet how to do this. We haven't learned it yet. So we're going to use addition to help us. I'll take this number and add it 4 times. 1 2/4 plus 1 2/4 plus 1 2/4 plus 1 2/4 equals, add my whole numbers, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, that's 4, and 2, 4, 6, 8/4. See, this is improper, 4 8/4. Now think about it, 8/4. Let me divide that and fix that. 4 going to 8, we know 2 times 4 is 8, subtract 0. That's 2 0/4. So I don't need the 0/4, so this would just be 2. put a plus sign. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Did that match? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Now, if at any time I'm getting too fast for you, just pause your video so you can catch up. And I always encourage you to maybe pause it before you see the answer and work it yourself. And then hit play and see how well you did. That's how we get better. You've got to step out and try it on your own. Now, this one, they've got the division expression filled in. They've got our improper fraction. They've got our mixed number already done, but they did not do the division. So let's set that up. Remember, the number that goes inside for our dividend is the numerator or the first number in the division sentence. And the denominator becomes my divisor at the door. 2 will go into 5, 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract 1. Stop and rock. 2 and 1 half. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. This is 2 and 1 half. That's my answer. So I'll put it up here with the 2. I'll put that half up here so that you'll see that to come check it. Remember, when we check, we multiply outside times outside. So that will be 2 and a half times 2. And this is something that we haven't learned yet. So we're going to add this instead of multiplying, because addition and multiplying are pretty much the same thing. So I'll just add this twice. 2 and a half plus 2 and a half. So I'll add my whole numbers. 2 plus 2 is 4. I'll keep my denominator. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 4 plus 2 halves. This is like 4 plus 1 whole, and that's going to equal 5. And that matches. So that's what the first side looks like. Hopefully, you were able to catch on pretty well. It's not really a tough lesson today. Now let's look at the back. Now the back, when you turn over and look at that, you're going to see some word problems. And you know how we all love those. So let me see if I can get this to zoom in a little closer for you. Let me focus it 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right. Number 2 says, a principal evenly distributes 6 reams of copy paper to 8 fifth grade teachers. Now, reams of copy paper, that's probably like packs of paper or cases of paper, probably packs. 6 reams of copy paper to 8 fifth grade teachers. That means if he evenly distributes it, he said, all right, I'm going to give you some, 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 you know, and everybody gets the same amount. And we know that because he evenly distributed it. All right, it says, how many reams of paper does each fifth grade teacher receive? Explain how you know using pictures, words, or numbers. All right, let's look just a minute. We know we've got 6 reams of paper that's going to be spread out into 8 groups. So what we're dividing will be written first. 6 divided by 8. That's 6 reams of paper divided by 8 teachers. So they're going to put the 6 reams of paper into 8 groups. Now, we know that also as a fraction would equal 6/8, right? Because this means 6 divided by 8. Now, let's draw a picture of that. Let's draw our 6 reams. So I want you to draw 6 rectangles. Don't make them too small, but don't make them too big either. Five. And I'll do my 6th one right here. Now, there's my 6 reams. Now I'm going to divide, if this is 6 divided by 8, that means each one of these reams is going to be divided into 8 groups. So let me fourth them first. That means I cut it in half. And then half my half, there's fourths. And now I can double it and half each fourth and make eighths. Watch again. Half it. Then let's half each half. That makes 4 pieces. And then you'll cut each piece in half, and that'll double each piece, giving us eighths. Okay? Half it, half the half, then double each piece. And that gives us eighths. Half it, half the half, double each piece. You know how I am. I hope I don't make a mistake. Okay? I'm turning each one of these reams into eighths because we're sharing it among 8 teachers. Remember, the principal's going to give it to 8 teachers. He's going to evenly distribute it. Now, if each one of these reams, let's just focus on this first ream. We divided this first ream into 8 pieces because one teacher is going to get this one. Teacher 2 will get this one. Teacher 3, teacher 4, teacher 5, teacher 6, teacher 7, and teacher 8. Each teacher will get a little part of this. So let's just focus on what teacher 1 gets. Because whatever teacher 1 gets, teacher 2 will get, teacher 3 will get, because teacher 1 will get the first part of every ream. Does that make sense? Because each one's in 8 pieces. So he divided the reams into eighths. So one teacher gets this part. The second teacher would get this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, and this one. And the third teacher would get this one, and so on. So let's just use teacher 1 because whatever teacher 1 gets, that's the amount all of the teachers will get. Now, teacher 1 is going to get 1/8 of each pack, and all of the teachers will get 1/8 of each pack. So I'll add 1/8 plus this 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 1/8. And let's add that together and see what we get. We know we'll have 8 as a denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Didn't that match what we put up here? 6 divided by 8 equals 6/8. And that's what we get here. So teacher 1 would get 6/8. Teacher 2 would also get 6/8. Teacher 3 would get 6/8. Teacher 4 would get 6/8, and so on. Each one of the 8 teachers will get 6/8. Now, if I take 6/8 and put it into simplest form, watch this. Let's see, 6, that's 2 times 3, prime, prime. 8, 2 times 4, 2's prime, 4, 2 and 2. I'll draw my line right here. Let's see, 2 times 3 up top. And 2, 2, 2 on the bottom. And we see that this matches. So we go with what's left. There's a 3 on top for our numerator. And then I multiply these two numbers that are left. 2 times 2 is 4. So each teacher will receive 3/4 of the copy paper. So there's my answer. 3/4. How many reams of paper does each 5th grade teacher receive? They'll receive 3/4 of the paper. Okay. All right, let's go to B. Now, if there were twice as many reams of paper and half as many teachers, how would the amount each teacher receives change? Explain how you know using pictures, words, or numbers. Well, let's see. There were twice as many reams. Well, if there were 6 reams, if now there's twice as many, now there's going to be 6 times 2, right? And half as many teachers. How many teachers were there before? There were 8 teachers. So if we're going to cut that in half, you'd say 8 divided by 2. So now we're going to take 12 reams of paper right here. Now we've got 12. I'll put equals 12 there. Divided by 4, right? Because 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So we've got 12 reams of paper divided by 4 teachers. Now, how would I write that as a fraction? Remember, the first number is your numerator, and the second number becomes your denominator. This also means 12 divided by 4. And we know that's improper, so we want to fix that. See, top number becomes my dividend. Divisor becomes my denominator becomes my divisor. 4 won't go into 1, but it'll go into 12 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract 0, 3 and 0 fourths. And we know I won't need this. So the answer is just 3. 3 reams. And I guess I should have circled this answer, shouldn't I? Okay. I hope you're understanding everything okay. All right, let's look at number 3, the caterer. It says a caterer has prepared 16 trays of hot food for an event. The trays are placed in warming boxes for delivery. They've got to put them in the van and keep them all in the boxes to keep them warm for whatever event they're taking them to. Now it says each warming box can hold 5 trays of food. So evidently we're going to be putting the 16 trays, we can put them in groups of 5 inside the warming boxes. It says how many warming boxes are necessary for delivery if the caterer wants to use as few boxes as possible. Probably limited with space in that van. Explain how you know. Now, let's go back and look. What's getting divided? Because we write that first. Are we dividing the 16 trays of hot food, or are we dividing the warming boxes? I hope you said the 16 trays of hot food. That's what's getting put into groups. So I'll say 16 divided by, we're putting it into groups of 5. And we know that would look like this, 16 fifths, right? This also means 16 divided by 5. We know that's improper, so let me fix it. My numerator goes inside. Denominator is my divisor. 5 will go into 16 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract 1, rock around the clock, 3 and 1/5. So he's going to be able to put these into 3 groups of 5, and then he's got, looks like, 1 tray left over. Now, should he throw this tray away and not take it to the event? Because remember, the event needs 16 trays of food to have enough food for everybody. And we can put them into the warming boxes in groups of 5. So we can get 3, that's going to take care of 15 boxes, right? But we've got 1 extra box that either, a tray of food, not a box. We've got 1 extra tray of food that we need to still take. So how many boxes will I end up needing? Will 3 boxes be enough? If I only take 3 boxes, then I'll have to leave this one tray of food behind. And I don't want to do that because they need this food or they won't have enough. So I'm going to end up needing 4 boxes. Even though that 4th box won't be full, the food still needs to go. So that will be my answer. He needs to take 4 boxes. That will get all of the food there. Now, last one. If the caterer fills a box completely before filling the next box, what fraction of the last box will be empty? Well, remember, we know the last box had 1/5 in it, didn't it? The last box had 1/5 in it. And now we know we've got to add 1/5 to something to equal 1/2, which would be 5/5 if it was full. Now, what could I say 1/5 plus what fraction would give me 5/5? I'm going to erase my question mark. We know this is going to be a fraction. We know my denominator will be 5. So 1 plus what number will give me 5? The answer is 4. So let's look. We had 1/5 filled, didn't we? That's what we had filled right here. It had a lot of empty space. Remember, it only had 1 tray in it. It could hold 4 more because it could hold 5 trays. So it was this much empty. It was 4/5 empty. And if we had a full box, that's what this would equal. A full box, that would be 1/2. So what fraction of the last box will be empty? The last box, the part that'll be empty, it will be 4/5 empty. Okay. I hope you've understood this lesson. If you have any questions, please let me know. Also, make sure that you are, if you're at home and you've been absent a good bit and you have your Chromebook from school with you, make sure you are working in iLearn so that you can continue to get practice and get your time in. You need to be working in iLearn at least 20 minutes a day. So make sure you're doing that. I'll be monitoring your time. Thanks for watching.